anything about Samuel Coleridge Taylor, so this is all educational for me. Thank you. I am fascinated by, in the collection of 24 songs, how he's got the melody at the beginning, so that you can see in his composition how it's a reflection of kind of the original melody. So in a way, it's a play for authenticity. I know the original material, this is how my material relates. When you go back to Hiawatha, and you discussed how he's imitating, you called them Native American rhythms, was there any attempt on his part to do a similar sort of, this is the original, and this is what I've done with it move? Was there a similar authenticity to it? Because I think you were right to, yeah, you mentioned that, we're at the height of exoticism, and what I heard in that was exoticism, which is not at all about authenticity, but clearly he is interested in authenticity later.
Not so much in Hiawatha, but Hiawatha was a youthful work for him.
Okay.
He had just nicely graduated from RCM, and I would say that he was feeling his way as a composer.
Okay.
So I don't see anything in the score that is similar to the 24 Negro Melodies, where he has fully set forth the incipit or here's the genesis or the exegesis, and I'm moving on from this. This is my transcription. This is my arrangement. This is my improvisation. I have not found that in the score to Hiawatha. That may have come a little bit later.
Yeah, and if it did, it might suggest a development in his own thinking about music. If early on he's not so much interested in a faithful representation of somebody else's melodies, but more an exoticism, whereas later on he's more interested in a faithful representation. So that would, if it is youthful, and it strikes me that it could be, then that change over however many years may indicate the change in the way he's thinking.
Yeah. Well, and to Coleridge Taylor, he was enamored, enraptured. He was totally sucked in by Longfellow's poetry.
Okay.
So in this instance, I would consider that he got caught up in the lyric. He caught up in the romance of the poetry, and, if you will, the exoticism and the romance, if you will. We love to romanticize,
right.
But if you will, the romance of the story, of the narrative, of the situation.
Okay. Other questions in here, but I would keep going. It strikes me that Coleridge Taylor is sort of an early version of the later musical manifestations of the Harlem Renaissance. And I wonder if you would compare him at all to William Grant Still.
I think one feeds on the other, absolutely. Particularly the later works, where I would describe Coleridge Taylor, his harmonic language is much more, I hate this word, but I'm going to use it anyway, Josh, sophisticated.
Okay, sure. More sophisticated than his earlier works, or than William Grant Still?
Than his earlier works. Okay. And I see some similarities between his harmonic choices and Grant Still's. Okay. And particularly in the piano works, in the Negro Melodies.
Okay.
I hear a lot of elements in the Negro Melodies that I also hear in Grant Still's the symphony.
Sure. And I guess at that point they had similar goals, right? The promotion of African American music within an art music world.
Oh, absolutely. And I haven't done enough research about Coleridge Taylor's time in New York York, and he was in Detroit too. I believe it was the 1906 visit to the U.S.
Okay.
But you know, it's within the realm of possibility, because he was in New York. It's possible that he and Grant Still.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly my chronology on Grant Still. You know, his big African American symphony was 1930, I think. I don't remember when he got to New York. I have a feeling it might have been.
Might have been a little bit later.
Yeah, I want to say the teens, but don't quote me on it. But that doesn't mean that William Grant Still couldn't have been aware of Coleridge Taylor. I just don't know that he was.
Well, and amazing, you know, Coleridge Taylor's music is all but forgotten now. And it's a sad commentary that we bring it out in February, kind of dust it off.
Right.
You know, it gets an airing during Black History Month, but during his lifetime, Coleridge, he was successful. He was revered. He was, as they say, riding the crest of the wave.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still bowled over. I'm imagining a 200-voice African American choral society that would name themselves after him.
Mm-hmm. In the way that earlier they would name themselves after Handel and Haydn.
Yeah, absolutely. So his, if you will, his street cred in the U.S. was huge, was enormous. So the likelihood of William Grant Still at least studying Coleridge Taylor's music, I would say that's highly probable.
Thank you.
No, it was my pleasure.
Well, I don't have a question, so
Oh,